Picture this. It's the end of the month. You open your banking app. You already know what you're going to see, but you check anyway, like maybe the numbers magically changed while you slept. Rent just went out, groceries, phone bill, streaming stuff you forgot you even signed up for, and then the car payment hits. And it's not just the payment, right? It's fuel, insurance, random repairs that always show up at the worst time, tires, oil changes, that weird noise you ignore for 3 weeks because you're scared of what the mechanic might say. And honestly, you probably told yourself the same thing most of us did. It's fine, I need a car, this is normal. And yeah, maybe it is normal, but normal doesn't always mean cheap. And I spend way too much time thinking about money, why we spend it the way we do, and how tiny decisions quietly shape our entire financial future without us even noticing. Like, seriously, sometimes I'll be sitting in traffic just thinking about compound interest in life choices, which is probably not healthy, but here we are. Because here's the weird thing. Over 10 years, your car might cost more than your rent. Not your monthly rent, your total rent across multiple years, depending on where you live, obviously. But for a lot of people, the math gets uncomfortable fast, and nobody really talks about it this way. You hear cars depreciate, you hear cars are liabilities, you hear buy used. Cool, but what does that actually mean in real life, in your life? What if the car you think is helping you move forward is actually slowing down everything else financially? What if the real cost isn't the payment, but the ripple effect over a decade? That's what we're getting into. Not in a scary doom way, more like pulling back the curtain so you can actually see what's going on. Because once you see it, you can't really unsee it. And honestly, that can be a good thing. Let's start with the obvious number, the monthly payment. Say you finance a car for $450 a month. Pretty normal, right? Honestly, that might even feel reasonable these days. Over 1 year, that's $5,400. Over 5 years, that's $27,000. And most people stop thinking right there, because 5 years feels like the full story. But cars don't disappear after the loan ends. They keep costing money, sometimes more. Now add insurance, maybe $120 a month, maybe more depending on where you live and your age. That's another $1,440 a year. Over 10 years, that's $14,400. We haven't even touched repairs yet. I remember once thinking, okay, cool, loan is done, now the car is basically free. And then like 2 months later, I needed new tires, brakes, and something called a control arm that sounded expensive, and was. Cars age, parts wear out, and older cars often cost more per year to maintain. Average repairs and maintenance might hit $1,000 to $1,500 over time. 10 years, another $10,000 to $15,000. Suddenly that $27,000 car is actually $27,000 loan, $14,400 insurance, $21,600 fuel, $12,000 maintenance average. That's about $75,000, and we haven't even talked about depreciation yet. Why does this matter? Because most people budget for the payment, not the ecosystem around the payment. Takeaway here, when you think about a car, think total lifetime cost, not monthly survival cost. Depreciation is boring, I get it. It sounds like something from a textbook nobody read, but honestly, it might be the biggest cost of owning a car. When you buy a new car, it can lose 20 to 30% of its value in the first year, sometimes more. Imagine buying a $40,000 car. 1 year later, it might be worth $30,000 to $32,000. You didn't crash it, you didn't damage it, time just happened. It's like buying an ice cube. It starts melting the moment you hold it. Over 5 years, many cars lose 50 to 60% of their value, so that $40,000 car might be worth $16,000 to $20,000. And here's the emotional trap. You don't feel depreciation. You feel payments, you feel fuel, you feel repair bills. Depreciation happens quietly in the background. I once saw someone upgrade cars every 3 years because they liked having something fresh, which honestly I get. New cars smell amazing, the screens are cool, everything feels smooth and quiet. But financially, it was like lighting money on fire slowly. Why it matters? Depreciation is money leaving your net worth, even if it never leaves your bank account directly. Takeaway, if you keep cars longer, you spread depreciation over more years. That alone can save tens of thousands. This one's more psychological. You get a raise, life feels better. You think, okay, I deserve a nicer car. And yeah, you probably do deserve nice things, but cars are sneaky lifestyle upgrades because they lock you into long-term costs. Let's say you upgrade from a $300 payment car to a $650 payment car. That's $350 extra per month. Sounds manageable, right? Honestly, that might even feel reasonable these days. Over 5 years, that's $21,000. Over 10 years, $40,000 to $50,000 difference easily. That's house down payment money in many places, or investment money, or business money. And the crazy part? After a few months, the nicer car just feels normal. The excitement fades. The payment stays. Why this matters? Lifestyle inflation feels harmless monthly, but it compounds hard over time. Takeaway, if you upgrade cars, do it slowly, or delay it, or buy slightly below what you can afford. Future you will be weirdly grateful. Okay, this one gets a little mind-bending. Opportunity cost is basically what else could that money have done? Let's say instead of spending an extra $400 per month on a car, you invested it. $400 per month invested at 7% average return over 10 years, roughly $69,000. Over 20 years, around $200,000. And I know, investing isn't exciting compared to driving something nice. I get that. Money growing quietly in an account doesn't give you heated seats. But future freedom is kind of underrated. Why it matters? Cars don't just cost what you spend, they cost what you could have built instead. Takeaway? Every big monthly payment deserves an investment alternative thought experiment. Just ask, if I invested this difference, what would it become? This one's subtle. Cars are visible wealth signals. People see them, neighbors see them, friends see them. Nobody sees your investment account. There's this quiet pressure to look like you're doing well. I remember feeling weird driving an older car when friends upgraded, even though logically I knew I was saving money. It's like part of your brain goes, are we falling behind? But here's the truth most older, wealthier people quietly learn. Looking rich and being rich are often opposite paths. Why it matters? If you make car choices to impress people, you're basically renting status monthly. Takeaway? Pick cars based on your life, not someone else's highlight reel. Okay, quick reality check. Cars aren't evil. You don't need to drive a 20-year-old rust bucket to be smart with money. Sometimes spending more makes sense. If you drive huge distances for work, safety tech matters a lot to you, reliability saves you lost income time, or you genuinely love cars and budget intentionally for them. The key is intentional spending, not automatic upgrading. Why it matters? Money is a tool, not a punishment system. Takeaway? If you love cars, cool. Just know the real cost and choose it on purpose. Here's a simple way to think. Before buying a car, imagine owning it for 10 years. Not 3, not 5, 10. Ask, can I afford this if income drops? Will I still like paying for this in year 6? Does this block bigger life goals? This mental shift alone changes decisions fast. Why it matters? Long-term thinking protects you from emotional purchases. Takeaway? If a car only makes sense short-term, it probably doesn't make sense long-term. So here's the big picture. Your car isn't just a monthly payment. It's fuel, insurance, repairs, depreciation, lost investment potential, lifestyle lock-in. And over 10 years, yeah, it can quietly cost more than rent in some situations, or at least compete with it in ways most people never calculate. And I'm not saying sell your car tomorrow and bike everywhere, unless you want to. Honestly, that would be impressive, but also very sweaty depending on where you live. This is really about awareness, because most people don't lose money from one big mistake. It's small, normal, socially accepted decisions repeated for years, and cars are one of the biggest ones. If you walk away with one idea, let it be this. Big monthly costs are never just monthly, they're decade decisions, and you deserve to make decade decisions with full information. Maybe you keep your current car longer. Maybe you buy used next time. Maybe you still buy the nice car, but you do it knowing the real cost and planning around it. That's power, not restriction. Honestly, money freedom rarely comes from dramatic moves. It comes from quiet, slightly boring, consistent choices stacked over time. And I know that's not flashy, but being able to breathe financially, being able to say no to a bad job, being able to help family without panic, that stuff matters way more than most car dashboards. You don't have to be perfect with money. Nobody is. But if you start seeing the long-term cost of normal expenses, you start making decisions most people never even think about. And 10 years from now, that version of you might be sitting somewhere, maybe still driving the same car, maybe not, but definitely feeling a little lighter financially. And honestly, that's kind of the goal.